How's everyone doing? Um, we're at Maneva, so when it comes to AI, a lot of the conversation is around LLMs and things that operate in the digital sphere, things that happen in your computer, streamlining that. Maneva is a vision AI company, so we're looking to actually impact the real world throughout the use of AI in your factory floor. And so here we have one of our customers that uses our AI across their factory floor. So I'll let KZ introduce himself and give some context.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Kevin as well. So I am the head engineer of the SM Enterprises. So we are the confectionery in Canada, and we have the 3 factories here. Yeah, we are the ones using Maneva AI here to help us prevent any contamination and food risk before it occurs.
So in terms of food safety, we've always looking at it as sort of the last stop. Right? If something is pertaining to food safety, if you have a recall risk, if it had gotten to that step, it probably means that the process before that was contaminated. That contamination doesn't have to happen on the product itself. It happens to your SOP. So I think in the last couple of years, I felt like there's been just the most amount of recalls. It's either the media is getting smarter and the AI is picking up on it more and we're being told more about recalls, or things have just been getting through the cracks a little bit. But things like salmonella, right? It's not necessarily the chicken breast itself that deteriorated in quality. You can't see that with vision or AI or anything. But what you can see is actually the process before salmonella outbroke. So did cleaning happen? Did the cleaning cycle happen to its standard, right? So if a vision AI camera were there, then it'd be able to validate the fact that the cleaning cycle ran for 45 minutes and it looked exactly the same as the other 370 times that it was done in the last 4 months, whatever the case is. And that's why establishing the problem is really important when you're implementing a vision AI solution, because you need to know where your risks are that could lead to a deterioration in food quality and food safety. So in that sense, when you're looking at a specific issue that you're trying to address, you have to, I'm sure everyone here on the quality team, when you submit for an ask, you have to build a business case. And they fall into 2 categories. They fall into the category of this gives me financial ROI, and this would just de-risk the business process and make everyone's life so much easier, but it's hard to put a financial ROI to that, right? Like, Maple Leaf from 25 years ago, when they had that massive outbreak, that's now a business case that food safety people study on every single year. They have a conference about it every year. And so, when you ask them back then, what was the business case for implementing something like this, they would have told you, it's a question mark. We don't know. But then after the fact that it's happened, you know that it cost hundreds of millions of dollars and damage is, unbelievable. So, I mean, for SM and Karma, what did you guys establish as a problem in one of your processes, and what did you end up doing about it from an AI perspective?
Yeah, so we used to have our QC people to do the spot check every 15 to 30 minutes per shift. But after we implement the AI system, so basically 24/7 and every single second do the spot to do our production check. And we do have the top seal inspection from the Maneva AI, which is helping us to find out the bad seals and also like the date code if there's anyone missing or anything, or even with the labels as well.
Yeah, so in terms of that, I think it prevents, obviously there's a defensive nature and it falls into the second bucket that I mentioned, which is it stops recalls from your customers and all that. But it also ended up letting you automate your full line, right? There was a problem before where
correct.
that line was mechanically automated, but because it lacked the human intelligence
Correct.
to do the final check, like talk about how that allowed
Yeah,
that whole line to now become automated.
So I'm trying to optimize the production all the time because that's my job, right? And I was trying to automate a line, and we did trying to automate the line without the AI because we used to have a person to pack them, but at the end we found out it's impossible without AI to detect to do the quality inspection. So then we introduced the AI, and Maneva is doing well for us.
Right. So they had a process where they needed to final pack these tubs into the corrugate boxes, but the person who was hand packing was also serving as a function of monitoring for the quality of the seals and all of the print dates. And then because AI can sort of figure that out, that person's now relegated towards checking a fleet of AIs across the lines, similar to here that you can see the line monitoring. So when you think about what creates a safe environment, when we talk about food safety and safety in general, we don't just think about food safety and safety for the consumers, but we think about safety for the workers as well. So when we're monitoring the lines, when we're monitoring hand washing, we're monitoring for people, process, and environment. We're actually monitoring for everything but the product. And those things are important because it really sort of enables best practices and a reinforcement of positive culture, right? By using AI, we're able to stop focusing on stopping the most critical bad thing from happening. So get your mind out of the CCP perspective where we're going, hey, this is, there's nothing we can do. We have to stop it dead here now. But it's more about promoting the excellence of your operating culture, right? So simple hand washing monitoring. I know you guys have that at Karma.
Yeah.
Talk about what the thought is by putting a hand washing monitor in there.
Yeah. So the hand washing monitor, it really help us to monitor if people complied our safety culture actually, because that's the last line we will have. Because our not only hand washing station actually, we do use our security camera to collect the data and help us to monitoring if our operator wearing the gloves and hairnets as well. So that is, if anything not, like there's a red flag and shooting back to our supervisor, then we also know if there's an unauthorized access as well.
Right, yeah. So it's even more important for higher risk industries. Karma is a candy manufacturer, so they monitor that in the perspective that candy's being handled by hand, it's being pulled and stretched. But in some of our other customers, that's more heavy duty, where PPE is very mandatory to keep the worker safe. That's a huge process in delivery on our side to be able to do that. On the line monitoring side, it's also really important to keep the safety culture in check because we want to see that quality control is actually going out at the mark that you guys deem necessary, plus minus 2 minutes, right? So with AI vision monitoring the whole floor, we're looking at multiple things. We're looking at whether the operator is paying attention to their task. We're giving the operator an engagement score. We're looking at, if it's batch work, we're actually monitoring for the batch output, and then you can use that case study to train the rest of your workforce to say, hey, so-and-so operator operates at a really high capable speed. Let's bring our workforce towards this type of practice, right? That way, your whole workforce is uptrained and upskilled. It also, for Kevin's process, he manages a team of engineers and mechanics across the plants. When machine has downtime, when product stops coming off of where it's supposed to come up, the AI logs it immediately, and then it tracks how long does it take for a mechanic to show up, and how long do they work on it before it returns back to normal line. And so, a lot of the food safety and quality culture is often at times against production output. It's like they're not working on the same team because it's opposite metrics. I think with AI, you're able to actually meld the two and now increase your OE because both quality and speed is increasing at the same time, whereas before they kind of have to sit on a teeter-totter situation. So when you guys deployed the AI solution, what did that look like? What was the process? Walk me through how it happened, whether there were challenges, and what were some of the things that were a little bit different from you integrating like a typical technology?
Well, so basically we found out what is the challenge to us first, and then we will talk to Maneva if you guys are able to help us to do it. Yes. And then Maneva will suggest all the hardware what we need, and then we'll try to use our current system like security camera, or we have to introduce a new cameras. And then we will do our installation, and then Maneva will help us to do the AI training the model and what we need. So basically, we give Maneva what the good example look like, and then Maneva will just flag whatever it doesn't look good and tell us what are the bad ones. But not only that, it also self-learn to tell us which you didn't tell me, but I'm supposed to think, okay, this might not good. Give us the flag.
Right. So, with LLMs, we don't really think much about training the AI, but when you're talking to that AI, it's learning a lot about you. And it's learning through your behaviors, the questions, the rhetorics that you ask back to it when it gives you an output. So it's picking up all these behaviors to you individually. With Vision AI, it doesn't talk back to you, but when we think about a successful deployment, I'd like to say that if you think about it, the Vision AI is a third party. It's a third person in this relationship, in this journey that we have. You as the customer, as us as the partner, but the AI has its own brain and thought process. And so it's very similar to raising a child, right? If you want to raise a successful child, you can't just send the kid to school and be like, teachers, you take care of everything. I'm going to do nothing at home, right? At home is more important than at school. So we're much more similar to the school, whereas you guys have to invest in your own AI and process to teach it right and wrong, right? What are the boundaries? And we do that together. That education to the AI is together, and that way you'll have the most successful AI that's able to decipher right and wrong, and when it's most likely right and most likely wrong on the things that it hasn't seen before. And that's what's different about AI and machine learning and traditional cameras, right? Traditional cameras is based on the foundation of a piece of hardware, and then they slap on an AI layer on top. But our company is foundationally the Vision AI, the brain and the eyes, but the camera is really just the means to absorb inputs. So that's why we can use any camera. We can tap into your security cameras. We can use your GoPro that you want to strap onto your head, or a Logitech webcam, but most likely we get a washdown camera that's waterproof, etc. The point is that it's a meaningful relationship that we decide to embark on, and that transformation process requires intention and investment from both sides. So when we have that, we're able to do things really well. I think the video to action loop is where this requires a lot of that teaching, right? Like, let's talk about the problems at Karma with the candy canes. I know we were having a lot of inconsistent production. I know
Yes.
Karma was throwing out 300,000 kilos of candy to feed the pigs here in Canada.
Right,
You're
right.
welcome.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then how do we go about to reduce that sort of process?
Well, we're manufacturing those candy canes in Canada, and basically in our kitchen, our SOP was like, okay, the candy mass coming up, and then we we have the temperature control, but we also, by the operator feeding, touch this. If it's soft or hard enough, okay, then we move the next step. But once we have the camera there, Maneva built it up, then it's able to monitor the operator movement. So first of all, we have the thermal camera right there to give us the right temperature map to tell us when it's right time to move the next step. And also monitoring, because in our process, we need to flip our candy mass once. But if the operator doesn't do well or do the wrong timing, it's gonna cause the issue, which make the candy too hard or too soft, which gonna cause more issues. That's why we throw out a lot.
Right. Yeah, so it was a really creative solution, and this is the part where I say raising the child is very much on the parents, because we would have no idea that it's so imperative to flip the candy a few times and to introduce air to it, and that, you know, when you cook a big lump of candy mass that is like 60 kilos, right?
Yeah.
The way it cools off isn't uniform. Outer layer becomes rock hard, but inner layer is still molten hot. So the creative idea to use a thermal camera to see the layers of temperature was really novel and interesting to us. And then from there, it's now giving the operator a red light, green light signal on when to flip. So there's a visual cue on the actual factory floor to tell people, hey, you should go ahead to the next step. And then the AI is then tracking, you know, what is the time between that light hit goes on and between when a person actually flips it. So now you're tracking this type of performance metric. And so these are the type of things where I'm sure everyone here knows, you know, your first shift is your best shift, your second shift is now a little bit less, and your last shift is highly questionable. This ends up really increasing the quality and the consistency of that last midnight shift, the midnight to 8 a.m. shift, because it just helps us remember a little bit more. I think when people are tired, they forget. Last night I left the stove on low for the whole night, and I woke up this morning and my wife destroyed me. So I was telling her, like, I live my life with too much AI that nobody reminded me, right? And this is one of those situations. I said, hey, you know, if Maneva was in my house, it would have let me. Hey, dummy, the red light. It's the stove is on. But that's basically where we're going to, right? We're trying to deload the mundane. We're trying to deload the stuff that no one truly wants to do, because giving that time away back to you allows you to become so much more effective and useful in like the high value tasks. It's these small mundane tasks that really drain, I think, a human's creativity and ability to dream and ponder. So we're really focused on taking the streamlining and the day-to-day SOPs that unfortunately you have to do to promote excellence and safety, but we want to make it as seamless as possible. And so, yeah, I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier. Is like you always have to have ROI and executive buy-in. You know, tell me, like, when you guys thought about these projects, how did you end up getting the CFO or the CEO to sort of sign off on this type of thing? Like, where did you see value right away?
Well, because the moment we introduced AI, that we're able to take out one person who used to hand packing, and then that's ROI. So we get the money back right away. So because we used to have a person who used to pack our product single one, we are trying to do the automation, but we cannot do that without AI. So once we introduce the AI in, so the quality inspection is done. So the ROI is there.
Right. And then obviously for the candy mass, you're reducing wastage by like 70, 80%.
That's crazy amount.
Yeah. So it's always the case. I know everyone has different styles of executives. Some are a lot more understanding than others, but we always ask our partners during our first call or second call, we go, is this something that you know is burning a hole in your pocket? and for some reason, when you go to sleep at night, that's the last thought you have, and you're like, this bothers me, the fact that we have to live like this every day, right? Or is it the second bucket where you go, you know, this thing is just draining me. I wish we never had to do this. In both cases, it's worth thinking about how vision AI or AI in general can really solve that problem for you. So yeah, so these are sort of the numbers behind the food safety thing. The thing with food safety and with general production is everyone thinks that it's like some massive event that happens, like a collision on the 401, 4 lanes blocked and there's no traffic going. But in manufacturing, the food safety and the quality issues come actually because of all those micro stoppages of stop and go, just like highway traffic. It's a lot of the stop and go that really ruins the flow of things. So if you can increase your production uptime and you have a lot more compliance in your day-to-day operations, a lot of the critical safety things really drastically decrease than what happens. So, I mean, looking ahead for you, Kevin, what's your thought on AI in general? It doesn't have to be with vision AI. It could be LLMs. It could be like we're building a robot and going to the moon. What do you think is happening with AI? Like maybe an LLM will walk into a bar. That could happen, right? Like, what's your thoughts on where it's going?
The AI?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm using AI every day.
Yeah.
Everybody probably already using AI. And in the factory, as a manufacturer, like I think AI is the future to improve the productivity and help the food safety and prevent any like food contaminations. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's hard to compete spot checks versus constant monitoring, right? Like there's literally no comparison. And the other thing that we notice right away, sometimes our customers get a little irked by us because the moment we deploy an AI vision system into their spot check, their reality gets put into their face that they actually have way more defects than they think. So usually within the first week or month, we notice 170% increase in defects. It's not an actual increase in defects. It's because humans aren't meant to do this and they can't do it well. So effective immediately, we give you guys all a reality check. And then from there, the actual video to action, the whole line monitoring will kick in place. We action something together and we actually start bringing down and increasing those ROIs and KPIs that matter to you guys. I think that's really where it's at. Looking ahead, I think in my mind, I think the fact that we were designed with 2 hands and 5 fingers and digits, and we're very effective creatures. That's why raccoons are so scary. They get into your garbage because they got those opposable thumbs. I think eventually, we're not going to have crazy-looking robots that automate the factory floor, but we will have sort of opposing hand robots that move around the factory floor to do things. And that's sort of like the AI transformation 3.0. But at this point, implementing something like Vision AI, where it creates a digital twin of your factory floor and knows your process and your SOPs, really enables you to capitalize on when that becomes a reality. Because those robots don't have to have a 360 camera along their head to see where they're going. They can actually tie into your whole network, into your actual vision AI like Maneva, and then understand where problems are 300,000 feet from the other side of the factory. So that's where I think the future is going to go, and then it'll make our lives a lot easier, and I think we'll all try to conquer and go to Mars or something. I don't really know what we're supposed to do, but I think that's where it's going towards. So, yeah, questions? Open up the floor to any questions, comments, concerns. We have one over here.
We'll have one question currently, and then we'll leave these wonderful gentlemen here for lunch. That will answer any other questions for you afterwards. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, you. Yeah, sorry.
But I just have some comments, questions, two comments. So about the person doing the check that was taken out for some reason, I have a question, like, don't you still, or maybe there was a process, how did you validate or ensure that, or I know there will be a signal when something goes wrong, but who's gonna take ownership of what to do in that case? Like, this person is no longer there, the person that did the quality check originally. How do you manage that?
So in terms of quality detection and reject, so our technology ties directly into a PLC or a robotic arm or whatever, and it'll actually just reject the product. So from the reject bin, of course, you'll have like a senior quality person come and inspect it.
Yeah.
But upstream, as you're doing that, the AI is now noting the upstream cause of what happened there.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, I know we have Coca-Cola in here. Let's say we notice puncture wounds in the tin. We'll end up giving like a supplier scorecard to, this supplier had this many pinholes out of 5 million runs or whatever the case is. So the AI is learning for root cause and possible causes. And in fact, like you said, I guess for the machine side, it'll say, hey, the last time machine broke down, 70% of the time it was this reason. So now your junior mechanics that go to operate the machine will know, okay, I should probably try this solution first before I start, going down the rabbit hole.
Okay, so there's still the human part about opening the corrective action.
Of course.
Then the other one is about documentation. Like we have keep document. I'm curious because the cameras and all that. Is there like somewhere these records are kept? Maybe there's investigation. Something like a real-time thing we can go back to in the future. Do we keep the record somewhere of all the inspections, all the camera recordings and all that? I've had discussions with Maneva before, and I've seen many videos, very interesting platform. But I'm just curious because of the storage, the space.
Like the actual data storage.
Yeah, all those videos, or it's just gone.
No, so we don't store we store for an X amount of days, but it only records and tracks the triggering event. So like it won't record the whole thing. It'll actually take that event, blow it up to plus minus like 30 seconds, and it tracks that investigation process. So that's how we keep it, really tight. We also on the back end do some type of compression so that it doesn't eat up an insane amount of storage data. So you can go back to see the incident and actually review it. That's actually one of the most important parts because that's how we raise the kid together, right? The AI knows it's wrong, but we need the parent to come and review and get the facts right. You can't just be like, oh, my kid punched your kid in the eye. And we're like, what happened? Like, did your kid punch my kid in the eye first? Like, we got to figure this out, right? So it happens like that with AI too, and we need proof.
Thank you.
Let's add one here. Do we have time? We still got 41 seconds.
Okay. Quick question.
Hello. Sorry, I lost my voice. My name is Gaurav Jain. I'm from Atlantic Sugar, or somebody may also know like Roger Sugar. My question to you is the technology, the vision technology. When it comes to food safety, when it detects a label, mislabeling, it's pretty good. But line monitoring, people monitoring, aside from food safety, digging into ethics, CFO had to buy in, but what about your employees? They're monitoring the people. Did employee had to buy in as well? And when it comes to monitoring people as well, like what are the ethics? Or any AI people can answer this. Crossing the boundary of ethics of actually monitoring the people. I'm not sure what are the rules and regulations, or if there's any governance present in the market right now when it comes to monitoring people. Food safety all these are good when it comes to food safety investigation purpose. But for people, what are your opinions on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have security cameras in your facility, then you are being monitored, right? So we've had no issues running into the fact that we're actually just layering on top of the analysis for security. In most large companies, large enterprises, they have a full person sitting in the data center looking at 50 screens, watching the security cameras. So we're just doing that in a much more efficient and effective manner. Addressing some union concerns, there are cases where the customer writes their own new surveillance camera policies, et cetera. We actually end up wiping out the face. So we don't track faces. We track your fleet as a whole. And that's why it's a cultural building. It's more of a positive building culture as opposed to like a punitive big brother aspect of things. But it doesn't infringe on anything that you would infringe on if you just had security cameras in your facility.
Thank you.
That-
Thank you, Kevin. And Kevin?
All right. Thank you.